Well, we've arrived at the sunset location. We've got sunlight, which is a start. Whether we get sunset colours or not remains to be seen, but it's a new location. Fingers crossed. Apologies for no viewer's image last week. Life just got far too complicated. I got a little bit confused. So I'm making up for it this week. Today we have a wonderful silhouette. I think it's sunset image. Just bear with me a sec. Yep, sunset. I'm having to check my phone to make sure I get all the details right. This is from Walter Stinnett. Thank you so much, Walter. Beautiful silhouette of a statue, and it was taken at Gettysburg National Battle Park in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Now, the only thing I know about Pennsylvania, oh, is that Transylvania? That could be Transylvania. I'm thinking of vampires. Wrong place. It's a place where a particular battle of the American Civil War started. Walter had noticed that it looked like the light had gone, so he'd packed everything up, as you do, because you think, no, nothing's ever going to happen, driving away and done that fatal thing of looking in your rearview mirror. And there it was, the sky was kicking off. So he slammed down on the brakes, jumped out and got that image. It's beautiful, Walter. The colours are phenomenal, and it always happens when you're least expecting it. Just when everything looks like nothing's going to happen, it kicks off. It's amazing. So thank you very much, Walter. I really appreciate you sending that in. I hope you enjoy it, folks. Catch up with you in a bit. Well, good evening and welcome to St. Abbs Lighthouse. I'm just having a bit of a recce because it's not somewhere I've been before. The way you can't see me. Be thankful for small mercies. We're coming up for sunset and I thought it would be kind of good to get somewhere a bit higher than we have been. And it's not an easy place to make a composition. There's the classic shot at the top of the pathway that leads down to the lighthouse, where you have the walls at the side of the path leading you down to the lighthouse itself. But there's some fabulous rocks. The amount of seabirds around here. You see the cliffs, and if you can, all the white stuff. That's bird poo, that is. I know there's a proper name for it, and I think it begins with a G, but I can't think what it is off the top of my head. The place is smothered in it. But there's gannets and gulls. And I believe they get puffins over here as well. I believe, I may be wrong. You can hear them. Right, this thing's refusing to focus. And you may not be able to see it, but just in there, there's birds nesting. And the racket you can hear, I'm guessing, there's 4 gulls on a ledge about somewhere around there. And the noise must be the mates calling out to each other, "Feed me, feed me." Now, I don't know if they're herring gulls or what sort of gulls they are. All gulls are seagulls to me. And if you look down there, where are we? Trying to think where we are. Just there. There's a rock. And all you can see is a load of little white dots. And it's birds sat there, and I don't know if they're nesting or they're resting. But it's, oh Lord. Oh, I can't show you this. Hold on a second. I'm trying not to fall off the edge of the cliff here. I'm really not certain if you're going to see this. But just down here, there's loads of the gulls all nesting into the side of the cliff. God, I love a bit of nature. The sun's setting over there, and just there is the lighthouse. It's a really dinky little lighthouse as well. So I'm wanting a composition that includes the lighthouse and some of the water swirling around the rocks at the bottom. I think that looks quite pretty. But But it's a case of having a mosey around. It's 7:30 now. Sunset is about 9:05. The good light, I mean the light started getting soft now, but the really good light and colour should start coming around about 8 o'clock. So that gives me another half an hour or so to have a look around and decide on a composition. I'm also going to have a look around the other side and see what that's like. Shooting this way, you're shooting into the soft light. Shooting that way, you're going to be shooting into the sun and the harsher light. And I know which I'd prefer, but it's where I can find the best composition for me. So yes, I'm going to have a quick mosey and I'll come back to you in a bit. Well, we're back into the realms of big vistas, which are not my best, not my forte, but I'm having a go. I've had a good wander around. I found a couple of spots that I quite like. I'm just trying to keep an eye on my camera. But it is very windy up here now, simply because we're high up. And I really don't want it going arse over tip. Still, the composition I found, I can manoeuvre myself without knocking everything over. We have all these beautiful rocks coming in from the right hand side of the image, and they all lead out into the ocean. They've all got beautiful pools of white around them. The sky kind of looks a bit mushy, but it's actually not too bad. And the light is now nice and soft. It's got to be knocking on the door of 8 o'clock now. So I'm shooting at, where are we? F13. I have a 0.6 reverse grad on, the right way around, and the 6 stop, and the polarizer on. And I'm getting roughly 10-second exposure at the moment. And I'm quite liking that. Oh, I'm guessing you can't hear that because of the wind. 10-second exposure, and I'm quite liking the effect of that. There's another composition, to try and shield you from the wind, just over here with the lighthouse in, which is the next one I'm going to try for, but I just want the sun to dip down a little bit more so I don't have to filter too bad or put too many filters on. So yes, it's a bit of a different evening, but it's so beautifully peaceful. The only noise is the birds and me checkering, obviously. So I'm going to carry on, see what else I can find. Right, well, I've moved positions again, trying to decide if the sky is actually going to do anything or not tonight. As you can see, the sun's going down just over there. And if I spin you around this way, we've got some beautiful streaks in the sky from the clouds. The cloud is building quite nicely. Right in the distance, there's kind of a little band of heavy cloud which could block the sunlight. But then there's a bit of a gap until we get to the medium and high level cloud, which is pretty much what the weather forecast said. And you probably didn't hear that because I was standing into the wind. So anyway, let's see if we can do this. No, we're not going to be able to. I'll try and spin you around and show you the composition I've gone for this time. Right, there you go. We have the lighthouse on the top left with a lovely inlet of water. We've got rocks framing either side of the composition, lovely streaky clouds, and 3 little swirls of water going out there, which I kind of quite like. I think I'm kind of quite happy with that one. There we go, let's see if that will focus. Yeah, these little swirls down here work quite nicely. And the sun is just putting a bit of light on the lighthouse, the left-hand side of the lighthouse, which works quite nicely. But with the filters I'm using, I've got a 0.6, start again, a 0.6 reverse grad, because as you can see, the sea is considerably darker than the sky. So that kind of evens that exposure out. I've popped the polarizer on to make the clouds pop slightly. And then I've just got the 6 stop on. A 10 stop would be overkill in these conditions, I feel. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I love the foghorn. distance, that little white speck, that's actually a massive caravan park. But considering I feel like I'm standing on top of the world, it's not actually that breezy. But yeah, if that cloud catches, that could be quite a lovely evening. And I'd settle for just some beautiful pastel colours. Yeah, I'm quite liking that. Well, for someone who doesn't particularly like doing the big vistas, I'm doing quite well at the moment. At least I think I am. You don't have to walk too far to find yet another composition that possibly works. I'm doing a slightly longer exposure, it's probably nearer to a minute. And I'm shooting, I believe it's at f14. The ISO's 100, etc. as usual. I'm just killing time waiting to see if this sky is going to light up. We've got to be at about 8:30, so if it's going to happen, it's going to happen fairly soon. I might scoot over to the other side. I'm really not sure which way is going to light up. At the moment, it's looking like it's going to light up over there, in which case I shall go back down there. The clouds over there look really nice and prime for getting some colour. In which case I'll go over that side, which will be interesting because I haven't set a composition up there. Now I'm just still getting used to using my phone to control the shutter. It's taking some getting used to as well, but it's, like I say, it's a short-term solution to a long-term problem. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, quite liking that one. Right. Onwards and upwards. Well, we didn't get the sunset colours that we were expecting, but I'm still quite happy with the images that I've got. Just trying a last composition. The rock that is that pokey, sticky out one there, excuse this, I'm still doing battle with the, oh yeah, very on the wonk there. Yeah, I've just kind of got a V shape going out to this rock here. A little bit of sky, because there is some cloud up there, and there's a band of colour on the horizon. Again, I've got the polarizer on just to make the white froth around the rocks pop. And I've got 0.6 reverse on and the 6-stop still for about 94-95 seconds. But this time, if you can just see here, in front of the camera, I have a load of white flowers. I think it's parsley, but I'm not certain. But I just thought it made kind of a quite different foreground. So I apologise for this one being a little bit bitty and batty, with everything being very much on the edge, and I have just fallen down a hole. It was kind of a little bit difficult to talk to you. And the lighthouse is working. If we hold this in this position, we may see the light come on. Apparently it's the foghorn, the bit on the end. There you go, there's the lighthouse. It's the foghorn that's been decommissioned. So yes, so that's it from St Abbs. I'm going to finish this last exposure, and then I shall see you all for sunrise in the morning. Bye!